Welcome to the Investing Podcast presented by Tusk Media. This is Outsider Trading, an audio and video deep dive into the people, places, and things that we find most interesting in the market.
Oh, no, bro. Yeah. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to a very special edition of the Investing Podcast, presented as, you guessed it, by Tusk Media. We're glad you're here. This is actually a special video and audio edition of Outsider Trading, and it's going to be a short one. In just a minute, we're going to have our Brexpert panel, some Brexit experts get up here, and we're going to talk about great Brexpectations. But first, wanted to do a quick mid-month update on the markets. We talked to you at the stock market power lunch about what the markets were doing, and they were down pretty sharply. They've rallied a little bit. Right now, as of 3 p.m. on Friday, the Dow is down 18 basis points, the S&P down 22, the NASDAQ down 77. If you recall, I made some predictions at the middle of the month for what the markets would do, and I'm pretty much wrong about everything, and I told you I probably would be wrong about most of them, so in that regard, I'm right about everything. Markets are down pretty consistently across the board. We thought they would be up as a whole, but we thought the NASDAQ would lag. We were actually right about that. The NASDAQ is lagging month to date. It's down about 2.8% total, just on a price basis, not talking about dividends or reinvestments or anything like that. The S&P is down 1.12% month to date. The Dow down about 0.5%. We also talked about oil. We predicted that it would close the month over $50 a barrel. Right now, it's at 48.02. So just a quick update there. You can go back and watch, I believe it was the Morning Market Mimosa video on June 1st, 2016. If you want to go back into that archive, it's on YouTube. So check it out. Now we're going to bring up the Brexpert panel. We're going to be joined in just a second by Matt Krebsbach. He is a portfolio analyst here at Narwhal Capital Management. John Holt, the Chief Compliance Officer for the firm, and Austin Newsome. You know him as the one and only summer intern here. So, guys, come on up. So what we're going to do here is we're going to talk a little bit about the Brexit vote, potential outcomes from the vote, and ramifications of it. Obviously, that vote is coming up on June 23rd, and the vote is, will Britain leave the European Union, and we've talked about that quite a bit on these episodes. You can check that out, hit subscribe, all that good stuff. So John, way down there, we're going to start with you, hear your opinions and what you think might or might not happen.
I believe they're out. I believe they are going to exit, and I think their GDP will drop slightly afterwards, but they will be fine in the long run. I think worse things have happened to Europe, or to Great Britain and Europe, and they have weathered them very well. So
there we go. We got one vote for the Brexit going through. Matt Krebsbach, portfolio analyst. What's up, man? What are you thinking?
Well, I'm a gambling man. You know I'm a gambling man.
Big gambler. Big gambler.
And last I saw, the odds makers have it at 60% in favor of stay. So I'm kind of in favor of leaning that way for now. If they do leave, I think markets are going to fluctuate pretty heavily, at least in the short term, but eventually it'll even out. It's not that big of a deal, I don't think. But if they do leave, eventually I think that questions the European Union's strength, and that will be a major deal, and probably a conversation for a different time.
There we go. So we got one gambler who, take that for what you will, and we got one that's saying flat out, hey, they're going out. I think they're going to go out too. I think this is going to be a highly publicized vote. Obviously, they're leading up to it. There's a large portion of people that are undecided, and I think you're going to have high turnout. And I think when you have high turnout, typically that leads to a change of some kind. You saw that a little bit on the U.S. side on some primaries. Large voter turnout, for instance, for Donald Trump, who represents, for lack of a better term, something different, something we're not used to. And I think that may translate over there. I don't see massive turnout coming out to say, hey, let's maintain the status quo. In terms of impact, I do think some of the negativity is already priced in, and it's kind of interesting. We're actually, I feel like, seeing more volatility in the U.S. than we actually are in some of the European markets, so that'll be something to keep an eye on. But at the end of the day, I still think we'll look back 2-3 years from now and realize if, no matter what happened, it was not that huge of a story. The impact was not necessarily that big, especially to us as U.S. consumers. Now we're going to go to Austin Newsome, a man with some European experience, and he's going to take us all to school right now.
Well, I hate to follow the trend, Andrew, but I also agree that I think they're going to leave. I don't think that they should, and I'm going all my chips on the table here and saying this, but I think once the military backbone in Great Britain leaves the European Union, I think Russia is moving in on the Eastern Front. I mean, you look back in 2014 and what they did with Ukraine, and they did so just because the Ukrainians elected a guy that was not pro-Moscow. So, I fear what the Russians are going to do with this, and I think it's going to put a lot of pressure on Germany, who, given the immigration crisis, is already under a lot of pressure. And that unfortunately does not bode well for the EU future as a whole, but we'll see.
Well, there you have it, folks. That is the Brexpert panel and our great Brexpectations. Y'all have a great weekend. We will be back on Monday, hitting you bright and early with that. What do we do in the morning? The morning market mimosa. That's the hardest part of this. I mean, whoever came up with these names did a terrible job because I can never remember them. Oh, wait, that was me. Y'all have a great weekend. Hit subscribe. Leave a 5-star review. We will read it on the air. Going to have some cool long-form stuff for you next week, including a interview with this guy right here, Mr. Matthew Krebsbach, the unit, as those who know and love him call him. So we will see y'all next week. Thanks so much for being here. Have a great weekend.
Tusk Media is a subsidiary of Narwhal Capital Management. Ratings and reviews of Tusk Media content are not to be construed as endorsements of opinions, analysis, or services offered by Tusk or its parent company. The opinions and predictions shared here are our professional beliefs at the time of publication. We are not under duress from any of the corporate entities mentioned. This is not a solicitation to take any particular action. Although we are investment advisors, this information should not be considered investment, legal, or tax advice. We strive to be as impartial, insightful, and accurate as possible. We base our opinions, analysis, and calculations on information we believe to be reliable, but we cannot guarantee its accuracy. We can, however, guarantee that our opinions will sometimes be flat out wrong due to a variety of factors. Employees and clients of Narwhal Capital Management may or may not hold positions in the securities detailed and may or may not hold these positions in the future. A full list of all securities purchased, sold, or held during the 12 months preceding the date of this publication can be provided upon request. Unless otherwise noted, all data accessed via MarketWatch or the Bloomberg terminal. Past performance does not guarantee future results. A copy of Narwhal's Form ADV is available at the SEC's website, www.advisorinfo.sec.gov, or from Narwhal upon written request.